Every Wednesday morning across the United States, 93 different communities meet to listen to entrepreneurs present their business startups. And we are one of the largest. Let's give ourselves a hand. Seriously, I've been to 1 Million Cups where there's only been about 15 people there, so we're doing great. We are so happy to have you here this morning and at the Art Museum. If you tweet, be sure and post your tweets because we will scroll them up on the screen. How many are here for the first time? 1, 2, okay, good. I was going to say nobody, but we do have a couple of new ones. Well, just to let you know, what we do here each morning is we have 2 entrepreneurs present their startup businesses, 5 years or less in age of the business, and then we ask them supportive questions to help them improve their business. And we now have a panel, 2 panelists that we've started. This is our second week to do this. And this morning we have Colin McAllister from McAllister Coaching and Scott Bratcher. And Scott, what company are you with? With Marlin. Scott is the Director of Technology with Marlin. So they will, when our presenters finish their 6 to 8 minute presentation, the panelists will kick off the question and answer session with a question each. And then we would love to have questions from you that will help our businesses improve their business or help you start yours. Each morning and throughout the week, we have volunteers that help put this together. And the volunteers include Philip Baird, Craig Jameson, Jennifer Simpson DeCamp. Deb Baird has stepped aside, but she's still on our advisory committee. Jonathan Putnam, and myself, LaDonna Greiner. So we are thrilled to be a part of this and to be able to bring this to you each morning. We also have a couple of other people that help us out, and that is Nathan Gregg and Aria Morton. I don't know if you're in the audience here, but if you are, raise your hands. And thank you. All right, if you want to connect with us throughout the week, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, as I said, and I believe Nathan is giving a 1 Million Cups cup out each week to someone who tweets, so get on Twitter. And you can also tune into our blog. If you want to present, you can go online to 1 Million Cups Springfield and fill out the form. It's not difficult. We would love to have you as a presenter if your business is 5 years or less old and a startup, or if you have a new concept that you're adding to your business. This morning, we're going to start out with Austin Butcher. He has a great concept that will help any service business operate more efficiently. So let's give a hand to Austin Butcher.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Business Management and Invoice app. My name is Austin Butcher. I am 18 years old. I just graduated from Kickapoo High School in May. And both my parents were teachers there. It's always fun showing up, holding their hands, and crossing the hall holding their hands. So, I started mowing when I was 12 years old. I mowed my house and my grandparents' house, and whenever my neighbors went on vacation, they would ask me to mow for them. The word spread that I would do that, so I got customers all over town mowing for when they went on vacation. I bought a mower, blower, weed eater, and my dad would take me to those locations. When I was 16, I decided to start a mowing company. So I bought the lawnmower you see in the picture for my 16th birthday. I did not have a car, truck, or trailer. I had no transportation except for my mower. So what I did was I had a weed eater and blower, and I would go around the neighborhood mowing. And that way, I knew it would be an investment for my future to pay off my grandparents and my parents who have helped me through the process. And that allowed me to get a brand new truck, trailer, blowers, everything I need to have a full mowing company. I found that managing my employees on 50 to 60 properties a week, depending on how many vacationers we have, was very difficult, especially for one person traveling all over town, trying to find my employees for one, and trying to see if they've mowed all the yards properly. So, I decided to come up with the Pocket Secretary, which is, which is a new business app. It's as easy as a touch of a button. Through the Pocket Secretary, you will go to our website, create an account for your specific type of service business. If you're lawn care, like I am, you will click on lawn care. Then a GPS type format will pop up. You drag an invoice and put it on the specific location on where that property is. You put the information for that client, how much it costs every week. When your employees show up, they're gonna be in the property's GeoNet, so a timer will start. They take a picture when they show up, a before picture. Then they take an after picture, and when they click that the job has been completed, the invoice will be automatically sent to that client with the before and after pictures, how long it took to do the job, and how much it cost. At the end of the month, it will be sent to the client, so they know specifically what happened at their property and how long the employees spent there. The owners will get the same advice and same regimen, but they will get it every single day where the employees went. If the employees did not show up, the boss will be notified. So that's what it does. It's simple. Tracks job completion. I have had yards like that. When I show up and I see a yard like that, I have to call my guys. They have to come back. It's wasting my time, my money, and my equipment to come back and redo a job. With this, I will know what it looks like before they ever leave the property. So that way I can call them and say, this does not look right, redo it right now, so it'll look like that. It writes invoices the way it programs, it will do it for you. Right now, the only companies out there, you have to rewrite the invoice every single time. It just gives you a platform to write it on. How will we get there? Acquire funds. I'm just out of high school. I do not have the money to actually develop the app, but I have paid back loans before and have experience doing so. Develop a prototype. I have people lined up to test it, and I want to test it myself to see if it works the way I want and see what businesses can utilize it. And test the prototype with any type of business. If you guys have a business that you think this app would be great for, let me know, and I'll try to set up a test for you to see if it'll work. What's the competition? There's invoice apps, there's GPS apps. There's invoice and GPS apps in one. They don't do managing unless you were on your phone watching where your employees are and timing them, which I don't want to do that. I want it done for me, so might as well create something for it. Cost to develop a website and the app is going to be around $100,000 is the standard from several different companies, and that's their bid. Price per month of what I'm going to charge for the app is $25 for every 5 employees that you have. Any other additional features that you want to add, because we want the app based around your company, what your needs are as a developing and growing through this market, because it's always forever changing. What we need, investors, and I need mentors also. I'm 18, I'm young, and I have a lot to learn. And anybody that can help me, I'm here to listen. So spread the word about a new app coming out. Thank you.
Job. Great job. We're going to kick off the questions with Scott asking the first question this morning.
I feel like the one on the spot. So I think that the $100,000 mark, and then right after acquiring those funds, going straight into the prototype, are you seeing that $100,000 only funding the prototype? Are you seeing it getting you through the prototyping phase and into an actual production-ready application? Or what's that outline look for you for people here that might be interested?
Okay, so the $100,000, they will create the website and the prototype. They know I'm going to have to test it, and I've talked to them about it, and they say they will fix any bugs within that, and that'll still cost around $100,000 to fix those bugs after that first month. And then after that, I would like to hire my own computer programmer so I don't have to hire developing companies constantly.
Right, so you do have a technical partner that you've been talking about. That's an organization that'll support you through this phase. And have you gotten far enough along where you have taking yourself through functional wireframes and have a clear idea of what that specific functionality will be to make sure that it fits what you have in mind as the end product?
We've done a little bit, but all of that is going to cost a lot of money to even do that phase with most companies. So.
Okay, so just a tip, that's something that you can probably do by partnering with somebody ahead of time so that you can use them in a mentorship capacity or just an advisory capacity. Get a long ways through that, because that phase itself is going to force you to ask specific questions that are going to tremendously impact the scope that they're telling you they can work within already. Just seeing the number on the screen, right?
All right.
So.
Thank you, Scott. Great questions and great insight. Colin?
Love the concept.
Thank
It's a
you.
great idea.
Thank you.
I notice up there you've got, for marketing purposes, you've got spreading the word. Have you thought about any other ways you can get traction in getting that out there?
Yeah, on Facebook, I have Lawn Butcher accounts and Instagram, and I can go talk to the other mowing companies that I know and see what they want, and then I can go to commercial stores where I know the owners, and I can put up posters there, and trade shows, go to lawn mowing trade shows and say, this is what I've had my experience in, and this is going to help me, so I want it to help you also.
Which is great, because this could go nationwide.
Yep.
Or even franchise for that matter. So congratulations
Thank
on that
you.
idea. I think it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
And when you are going to those trade shows and talking to those other potential customers, make sure that ahead of time you have some sort of way to gather their contact information, because that's a customer base that'll keep you from having to give away a considerable amount of money or equity in the company for the money that you're trying to get a hold of.
Okay.
Thank you. More questions? We have one here.
Great job. Thanks so much for presenting. My name is RD. I'm with Mighty Sharp, a creative marketing agency here in Springfield. And I have two questions that kind of converge into one. One is about minimum viable product, which I don't know if you're familiar with that concept of what's the minimum thing you can put out there that's actually useful to people.
Okay.
And on the other hand, specialization in the market. When you put those things together, it makes me wonder if you might, or if you've considered this, or if you might want to consider marketing yourself specifically to lawn companies, lawn care companies. And if that might streamline a little bit the required features and specifications in the app, making it less expensive to produce, and then also giving you a ready-made market so that you can market yourself to lawn care companies across the country. And once that succeeds, hopefully, then you can expand out from there.
The main feature that the $25 will be is the GeoNet that tracks your employees for you, and the pictures and the time. The invoices are going to cost extra. Those are some of the little things. And we've discussed video features and whatnot. So if you're a cleaning company or even a yard company, you walk around the house with a camera instead of taking a bunch of pictures, you just take a short little video to show the property. Right now, I do want to stay focused as much as I can on lawn care because that's what I know. But if I get somebody else that's out there and they're like, hey, I know about this company and this would be really useful, I'm like, I'm on board with you. Let's branch out.
More questions?
Let's hear a quick horror story from you managing mowers, and also I think if you could fill us in a little bit on the success you've had with your lawn mowing company too, and building that up. I think you had mentioned that one of your peak months you did $50,000 in revenue, and have managed up to 5 people. How'd you get there?
Well, how it started was with a push mower and a weed eater. I knew that if I wanted to beat everybody else, I was going to have to charge less and get my name out there and do every single extra little thing I can. To this day, every single time we show up, we poison all the weeds on the concrete. Nobody else does that. Every single time. Every single time we weed eat and we blow. Most companies do it every other week for weed eating. I'm not going to do that. And I make sure my guys know I will literally take a knife and cut the blades of grass. And when customers see that, they're willing to pay more, and they are willing to tell everybody else about it. Those are some little things that have helped me along the way. Some horror stories. I've been mowing one yard, and I'm like, hey guys, go mow that one. Right across the street, just right there. That's all you have to do. Like 5 minutes later, I look back, finish this one. They're in somebody else's yard mowing. And I'm like, guys, get over there. And they couldn't hear me, and so no telling how much time they spent. My time, my equipment, mowing somebody else's yard, and so their yard's gonna be halfway mowed, where my client's yard isn't even mowed yet.
That's a potential new client, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we have another question here.
Thank you. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Competition is always good for innovation, obviously, but you've mentioned these other invoicing and GPS companies. What do you think is the gap between why those companies that already have the capacity to probably do what you want to do haven't done it?
I would say the absolute biggest difference is they're extremely complicated, and I use some of those, and what I do is if I find a new one, I download it, and I'm like, I don't like the way this is set up. A lot of them, you have to manually type in your schedule for every single day, and that takes up the owner's time or a secretary's time, and then the employees have to look at where they have to go. On mine, it's just a map, and you just follow the map, and then it does the rest for you, and the owner will be notified. On the other ones, you have to constantly open it up and see where they're at, see what they're doing, see what they have planned next, and then manually check everything off. So mine's just a simpler version.
Austin, one of the things that you shared with us in your dry run was that in your app, you don't want to have a lot of advertisements to wade through. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
There are a lot of free invoicing apps that do have ads popping up. I want mine to be for your business, and it will be a business app. There's not going to be all these pop-ups happening. It's just going to be, you can open it up, and everything you need is right there. Not any extras, just what you need and what you establish through the website. I don't want you to open it up and have unexpected things along the way.
One of the things that I have a close friend who has a lawn mowing business, and he was really excited about this because of the invoicing aspect. So do you have an idea of how much it will save in time, just in time for an admin, not counting the timeliness of the billing and getting it out and invoicing and that sort of thing?
The actual invoicing for me, I don't even have a very large mowing company. I just have very reliable customers, and sometimes I'll pay a secretary 10 or 15 hours for one day of getting all the invoicing done for 1 month, and that's like $150+ and mine's a lot cheaper than that, and so
you can do it on yours in about 10 minutes?
Probably less than that because it does it for you. So every time you show up at a property and your employees say it's finished, the invoice is done, just that.
With photos?
Yep.
Awesome. Melanie?
Hi, Austin. It's a great idea. You've got a great entrepreneur mind.
Thank you.
I wanted to know if you, or how you chose the company who's going to be forming your app, or have you chosen that company? And what went into the thought process with how you chose them? Because I'm sure that was a difficult process.
Well, I wanted to stay as local as possible. I have called national companies. I have called out-of-state companies and talked to them about getting bid. I've done Kansas City, St. Louis, but I wanted to stay as local as possible. That way, if I had any problems with the app, I can just drive over there and we can solve it right away. So that's how I chose. And everybody was in the same price range, so it wasn't like this company's going to do it for $25 and this one's going to do it for $100,000. So staying as local as possible was a good choice.
Jason?
Hi, Austin.
Hello.
Thanks for your presentation. So one of the questions that's just kind of been roaming around in my head is, you're 18, right?
Yes.
Have you thought about building your own app and building your own website and just doing that from yourself out, like you've built your lawn mowing business? Have you thought about doing it yourself?
I have talked to individual computer programmers that said they could develop it. I'm not very computer or tech savvy, so knowing me, it might take like 3 or 4 years before I even have like a demo. So, and then it would be like my picture when I click on it, and that would be it. I do have people that said they could start working on it within the year, but even then, it would be so basic. compared to what I want, because all the features I want, a bigger company is gonna have to develop it. Using a GPS, I will have to bounce it off a satellite, and I've talked to companies about that, and that's why I have to go through a bigger company. If I go individually, yes, some people might be able to do it, but in the long term, it will be more cost efficient to go with a successful company that's already established.
So do it right the first time,
Yep.
right? That's great. I think we have a tweeted question.
Yeah,
over
we
here.
have a Twitter question. Miss Daisy would like to know do you have a website? And if not, why don't you? Because it's a great way to gain a digital media audience. And I believe that sort of tails Mighty Sharp's marketing question. So.
Okay, so are you talking about my lawn care company or?
No, for Pocket
for Pocket
Secretary.
Secretary, I have a URL, but I do not have a website established yet because I didn't want to send out false hope that it's going to be developed and nothing ever happens. So that's why.
Again, quality first. And
Yep,
make sure you have the
absolutely.
product ready. Colin?
Have you thought, this seems to be a residential thing, have you thought about the commercial market at all?
Yes.
In that, because obviously there's bigger bucks going on in that.
Commercial properties, I've done research and talked to commercial mowers. A lot of them have their own product.
Right.
And so the way I talk to them is I'm like, oh, tell me about how everything's working now. And they're like, we have a time card and we write down what properties we're going to. And I'm like, let me tell you about mine. And then they're like, huh, that sounds like a really good idea. And then they want to use mine instead. But I haven't got it developed. And I do have connections with bigger companies, so.
Vincent, you have a question?
Yes, Austin, just seeing a young entrepreneur like you just makes me so excited, and it gives me hope for the future. So I want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
My question was, a lot of these programs that I've tried to use, not necessarily invoicing programs, but to create an individual profile for each of your customers is a lot of work, and it's kind of complicated. Do you have a succinct solution to that issue?
Yes, the way I'm trying to do it is the customer sets it up themselves and they set it specifically for their company. Because even if we do it over the phone, I can mess up on what they want. And so the website is where you actually create your specific details for your account. The app is where you utilize it from property to property, if that makes sense.
Okay, we have one more question here. Just a second.
So what kind of financing are you looking for? Are you looking for a loan? Are you looking for equity financing? Have you got this? Are you going to set this up as a separate organization, company? What's your process there?
I'm looking for an investor and a mentor if I can get it in one and take equity out of the company.
And you've already consulted with attorneys and such, yes.
To talk about patents and discuss what I can talk about.
Yeah. What you can say and what you can't. Well, thank you, Austin.
Thank you. Oh.
We've got our last question.
We had one more question. We always like to ask, what can we as a community do for you?
Help spread the word, and if you guys have any advice for me, I can use it. Any kind of business advice, talking to clients, marketing, I am glad to listen, so thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Hope for the future right there, right? Yeah. Well, thanks again for being here on a rainy morning. Glad to see as many faces as we do have here. We are going to hit some announcements, but just one more round of applause for Austin being so brave to get up here, 18-year-old guy. I mean, I'm impressed. It's this mic that's buzzing. It's mic 2. I don't know why. Help. All right, so we have Tyler Moles and the Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Ozarks has the Bowl for Kids' Sake. I think that's still open. Is that right? Anybody know? Sure, why not? Check it out. bigbro.com/bowl. Contact Tyler Moles, Director of Development, right there. SBTDC has 2 events coming up, August 18th and August 25th. One for accounting basics for small business and QuickBooks for your business. If you're not using accounting software, QuickBooks is a great one. There's your ad. Refine M. We have weekly announcements from them. August 1 through 4, project management, professional exam prep, and Project Management Fundamentals, Friday, August 19th. That's my birthday, by the way, in case you want to buy me something nice. I don't need any coffee, though. Ozark Makers Fair. Deb has added this to our list, and we have a Saturday, September 10th from 10 to 5. Make that on your calendar. Come to the Makers. This is advancing by itself. Neat. Arts, crafts, robots, 3D printing, sustainable living, science and engineering, fun for kids of all ages, family fun, and more. I don't know what and more is, but that's pretty great. Vacation Rental Technology has an, kind of a How Airbnb Made Me Free seminar at Pasta Express, Republic Road, August 4th at 6 p.m. Lastly, if you have an announcement, please email it to springfieldmo@1millioncups.com. We do check that pretty regularly. The 1 Million Cups blog, the refill station, find it on Medium, 1 Million Cups SGF. Find and follow 1 Million Cups SGF on all social media. Hashtag 1MCSGF, as you can see right, ooh, oh, no, right there. Look at that beautiful thing. And if you want to present, 1millioncups.com/Springfield. It's not hard. Even if you have just a concept, go ahead and throw your application in so we can take a look and give you some feedback. Up next, a man who needs no introduction. Don Harkey, who I've known since I made him coffee at the Dancing Mule 7 years ago, a long time.
More than that, yeah.
And he's a man of great wit and wisdom. So give him a warm welcome, People-Centric Consulting.
Thank you. Kind of need the question. I got that. Just for, no tip for him this time, I'll tell you that right now. What's everybody doing? I have to follow that guy. Where's Austin? Dude, awesome. Let's give him a round of applause. I love to see that in the community. I'm unmuted. Check, check. Hello. We're good, right? We're live. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, good. Well, I'm Don Harkey, People-Centric Consulting Group. It's glad to be back here at 1 Million Cups. Got to present last year, talked a little bit about the history of our company. And today I wanted to come to you and talk to you, give you a little bit of an update about what's been going on. It's very, very exciting. We've been growing not just inside Springfield, but also outside Springfield. I think we're onto something that's really different and something that's really revolutionizing businesses, and I want to talk a little bit about what that is and what that looks like. So there's music. There we go. Just talk a little bit about our team. We've grown our team. We've got our Chief Business Officer, Diana Diaz, here, and our CEO, Randy Mays. Where are you, Randy? Back there in the corner are here. Just love working with our team. We've got a great team. We continue to grow. We're excited. Our office is up on Walnut Street, right next to 425 downtown, and Bruco, which we also call Conference Room 3. So talking about what we've discovered is something that we call high-performance culture. And what do we mean by high-performance culture? For businesses for the last 100 years have really been focusing on processes, right? We need to improve processes. This started with Henry Ford doing the first assembly line back in 1913. They decreased the time it took to build a car from 12 hours to 2.5 hours. Absolutely revolutionized the business. Also increased their turnover by 970%, but a lot of people didn't talk about that or why that happened, but there's some insight into that. Fast forward to 1939, we did the Shewhart-Deming cycle. It introduces the concept of continuous improvement, this Plan, Do, Check, Act. It's funny that we don't even think about this as something that was an innovation, but it was. It's continuously making your business better, something that's very important. Fast forward to the 1970s, there's the TQM days of total quality management, systemized continuous improvement that involves employees. The innovation here was management does not have to solve all the problems. We can go to our employees and have them help us solve the problems because they have good insights in that. That becomes really, really important as we move forward. Now in 2000s, you've heard about Lean Six Sigma. It's the idea of continuous improvement that involves employees and is focused on reducing waste or minimizing or completely eliminating defects. Every single one of these programs, if you're involved, how many of you have been involved with any of these types of TQM, Six Sigma, Total Quality Management? The people involved in those programs know that they come and go, right? They get really, really exciting, and then they kind of fade off. And they really get excited, and they come and go. And it's this incremental improvement idea, right? Well, I think we've done what we can with processes. And I'm a former engineer. I spent 10 years. I'm not anti-process, believe me. I love processes. But I think what the next 100 years are going to be about is culture. And culture inside organizations, okay? Why is this so important? So we fast forward to 2012, we started bringing this concept of a people-centric culture to businesses, okay? People-centric culture. It's a high-performance culture that includes engagement, focus, and accountability, okay? Why are we talking about culture? Because research over the last 30 years is giving us a really key insight that's really important for businesses. And here's the insight. Why we work determines how well we work. Why we work determines how well we work. If we know why we do what we do, we will actually work harder. So the idea is that inside businesses, inside every organization, there are employees that are not giving everything that they have to you because they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. This is important for culture. So when we talk about a high-performance culture, we're not talking about the culture that everybody thinks about. You think about a soft culture. You think about open office spaces. You think about ping pong tables, potluck suppers, things like that, right? Business people tend to look at those things and go, well, that's kind of soft, it's kind of neat, it's kind of trendy, it's cool, it's going to come and go. That's not the kind of culture that we're talking about. Those are more outputs of culture. By the way, I'm not anti-potluck supper. I love potluck suppers, okay? And I love ping pong too. But what we're talking about is a high-performance culture that engages employees, that helps them to get really good focus and holds them accountable inside of an organization. Okay, that's the kind of culture that we're talking about. Here's the impact of culture on organizations. Gallup did this study. It's a meta-analysis of 250 different surveys. They studied companies that have high engagement levels versus low engagement levels, right? They looked at the top quartile versus the bottom quartile, and they looked at their key performance indices. And here's what soft culture does for companies. We talk about a 37% lower absenteeism. We talk about 65% lower turnover for low turnover organizations. We talk about 10% increase in customer service. We talk about a 22% increase in profitability for companies that invest in culture and spend time to engage their employees. These are not soft numbers. In fact, right now, if you own a business, take 22% of your profits, figure out what that number would be. Would you like that number? Is that good? That's your opportunity that's out there. I can't think of something else that other businesses that we work with that can have a bigger impact on your bottom line than working on culture. Okay? Here's another example of how culture has changed, though. So we think about culture. Culture relates to motivation. How are employees motivated? And how do you get employees more motivated? And the answer is actually really surprising. It's not by doing the rah-rah, let's hang up a banner and we're going to talk about culture thing, right? It's not the Office Space, hang up a banner and say, hey, is it good for the company today? Right? That's not what it's about. It's really about these systems that you put into place. It's about designing roles so that everyone knows what is expected of them on a day-to-day basis. It's about knowing what your organization does and how everyone contributes to it. It's about, if I go to their employees, do you have a chance to do what you're great at doing every single day, and how does it relate to the success of the company? Okay? That's the type of systems that we talk about, right? And these studies show that this is the impact on total motivation internally in terms of the company. And it's huge, huge swings. It's not stuff to just rally up your troops. It's these systems that you put into place. This is hugely insightful. This is hugely important because companies for years have tried to work on culture, and they work on it by really focusing on culture. But the truth is that the way that you work on culture is not to focus on culture, but focus on the systems inside your company that influence culture. That's the key insight. That's what we're onto that no one else is onto that we see. It's working with organizations on these systems because that's something hard that we can do. Now, what systems are we talking about? We think about how do we build this people-centric culture. We've created these 5 categories of systems that you can work on, and people are at the center. Get it? People-centric. I'm really proud of that, so I'm just really excited about that part of it, that people are at the middle. But we think about the people systems. It's getting the right people in the right roles. So how you hire, how you onboard, how you design their roles when they come on. That's hugely important. I was asked to be on a board of a nonprofit recently, and they said, hey, we'd like you to be on the board of the nonprofit. It's going to be a minimal commitment. You're just going to show up 3 times a year. You don't have to go to the fundraising. We're not going to ask you to introduce anybody. You don't have to come to our events. I went to the first meeting because I really wanted to help this nonprofit. And the executive director said, I'm a little frustrated with our board right now because you guys don't fundraise for us. You don't introduce us to anybody. You don't come to our events. And I raised my hand, I said, you kind of set that expectation. That's what you told me you wanted from us, right? We see companies all the time, oh, it's great working here. Yeah, the work's not too hard, come on in. Don't tell it, no, the work is really hard here. How you hire, how you onboard them, what's their first day of work like? You have a lot of influence on an employee in their first day of work. And if they show up and you're disorganized and they spend the whole day filling out HR paperwork, they're not going to be very excited about the job. If you are organized and you sit down with an employee and you say, hey, Colin, I'm really glad that you're on my team, man. Here's why I brought you on the team. Here's how you're going to help us to be more successful. Colin's whole career is now set with that lens, right? These are systems that influence culture and improve the performance of people. We talk about communication. How many of you like meetings? How many of you don't like meetings? We'll go there. How many of you don't like meetings? If you don't like meetings, you're not doing them right. Meetings are an opportunity for people to come together to share their ideas to get a common future together. That should be energizing and exciting. We help organizations to have better meetings, to know when they should have meetings, when they should not have meetings, how they can get into a communication cadence. This drives company culture. Management. How many of you are in management? How many of you were trained for that role? Right? That's a big problem. It's you're great at your job, so we're going to promote you into a management position, but we've never trained you to do that. We trained you to be a computer programmer. Now you're a great computer programmer, so now you're going to lead computer programmers. Now manage that department, but you don't know how to lead and motivate people. Right?
We're going to give you the 30-second mark here so we can open it to Q&A.
Perfect. No problem with that. I just wasted 7 seconds. That's great. So that's a big problem. We talk about processes. You've got to continuously improve your process. You've got to get your employees involved in it because then they will own the process changes. It's not your job to change those. And the last thing we talk about is focus. Everyone in the company needs to know what winning looks like. What does winning look like for my team, for my department, and for the company, and how they play a role in it. Last point I'll make is we found that you have to bring all 5 of these systems up at the same time. Otherwise, it's like a barrel, right? How much water can you fit in here? You can only fit that much water in, right? No matter how tall the other staves in the barrel are, you have to bring all those systems on at one time. So that's the innovation that we're into. That's why we do events like our Leadership Mastermind on Fridays. We've got invitations for those. If anybody would like to come, you can see myself, or you can see Diana, or you can see Randy. And then we also do our management seminar to help train managers on how to lead and motivate people. And that's also why we partner with organizations to help them implement these systems to build their culture up. Okay? Took me 37 seconds. I apologize for that.
You're good, though.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Questions?
All right, we're going to open it up with our professional panelists, starting with Colin McAllister.
Remember how I onboarded you, Colin, so I took care of you.
I'll be gentle. Okay, so I get the theory of what you're doing here, improving the culture, and the last 2 slides there related pretty much to how you did it. Could you expand on that a bit more? When, all these different 5 programs that you got, can you expand on that? Just say when you go into a company,
Sure.
how you do this,
Sure.
not what you do, but how you do it.
So one of the things that we've learned about consulting, when I got into consulting, I met with other consultants. I know you and I have talked about this approach before, is that a lot of consultants get bad reputations because they go in and they assess what's happening inside the company, and then they tell the owner what they should be doing differently, and then they get paid. And then they leave, and it's up to the company to change it or not, right? Now, ultimately, I can't change your company. You have to change your company. But our approach is a little bit different. We take more of a blue-collar approach. We dive into the organization, and we say, let's become part of the systems that we're trying to change. So we dive directly into the company, so we'll walk with them. So if your meetings are terrible, we start sitting in the meetings and saying, okay, how can we make these better? Maybe we'll lead some of the meetings. Maybe we'll talk about which meetings we need to get rid of. We get to know the employees internally. We get to know the managers. We work with them one-on-one. It's more of there's the coaching approach and there's the consulting approach, and we try to mold those 2 things together. Is that some kind of a...
Yeah, I've got to follow up there. Okay. Of all the programs that you do quite a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Is there one that's most favored or requested by a company? And the converse of that, is there one that isn't but should be?
That's a good question. So the ones that are probably most favored, a lot of times the pain presents itself in different ways, but I think the management pain is the number 1 pain that we get called on. A lot of times companies don't necessarily realize it, but they look at their employees and they say, I've got toxic employees. How many of you have toxic employees inside your company? Right? They're against the company, they're misaligned, they drive to work every day thinking about how they can subvert the company. Many of you have probably been that toxic employee, right? So managers don't know how to hold those employees accountable or how to turn them around. That's a really common place where people first approach us with problems. That's a big piece. The solution to that, though, sometimes surprises the companies in terms of that it's your fault. It's not necessarily the toxic employee's fault. Now, we're not anti-firing people, believe me. Sometimes the best thing you can do is promote that person to their next opportunity in another company. But that often comes from management themselves and managers who are trying to do the right things but don't know how to do the right things, and they create the toxic situations. So that's kind of the yin and yang. They come to us with the problem, and sometimes they're surprised by the solution.
I see this applied at any scale of company, but
Yeah.
do you as a company have a particular target or a particular stratosphere across industries that you are looking for? And the second part of that is, what is your ideal client?
Yes. So we look for clients, ideally clients have 50 to 200 employees, right in that kind of a range. A lot of that is because they have enough resources to be able to bring in a company and set up systems and build that, but they're not big enough to have already done that. If you look at Gallup studies and you look at the size of company, the most engaged companies, the highest engaged companies are employees from 0 to 10. You have a small team, you talk to each other all the time, they're highly engaged, they talk with each other. The least engaged in the entire spectrum is from 11 to 20. So something happens to them when you get to that level, and anybody who's transitioned a business past 10-ish employees, you feel that. The things that used to work that just happened organically don't work anymore. And what you have to replace it with, and the reason engagement slowly increases after that, is because they're starting to build up their systems. They know how to do their employee check-in processes, how to train their managers. So they start thinking of themselves a little bit differently in terms of a company. So that's a big space that we like to work in.
All right, we're going to open it up to you guys. Raise your hand. We'll bring you a mic. I have a question for you, Don.
Yes, sir.
Been reading a lot about you. You guys have a really
Stand
cool
by.
success story here in Springfield. Can you give us a snapshot of annual revenues since you guys opened? And then also, I'd be interested to know if you could share with us, net margin.
We're not exactly, no. So I'm not comfortable sharing the exact financials, but I'll tell you that we have, in the 4 years we've been operating, our revenue's up about 5 or 6 times, and our margins continue to accelerate. We've invested a lot in the company early on to develop what these systems look like. Figuring out how we were going to be scalable was a key point in terms of how we build it. We've built an amazing team, and we know what those team members should look like and how they do and what skill sets they should bring to the table. And that allows us to be scalable and put more people out. So as we grow, I think our margins are going to continue to increase, but it's very good. We're doing great.
As a rule of thumb, and the reason I was asking is because, the average net margins kind of fluctuate industry to industry. And I would assume that as a consulting group, margins would tend to be a little bit better than maybe if you're selling a hard, tangible product. But that might not be true. And so I was kind of curious. Do you have any insights into that?
Yeah, it's a great business model. It really is. It's got pretty good margins on it. But the reason is because the value proposition is pretty solid. If we can go into a company and we can help them build their profits, in some cases, we've had clients that have multiplied their profitability. It's easy for us to go in, and we're not selling an hour of our time. We're selling a solution that helps them to get to where they need to be as a company. So that really helps us a lot. So it's a big win-win.
Hi, Don. Gary Whitaker, 417 Magazine. And let everybody know you guys work with us, and we encounter a lot of people who say we see the results of that, and it usually comes from somebody in the middle of an organization that says, I wish I could convince my owner or my manager to bring Don and his group in. How do you overcome that so that the decision maker buys in and starts to become people-centric?
Yes.
How do you overcome that challenge?
That's a great question, because we do get a lot of employees that call us and say, boy, we'd love for you to work with our company, but I don't think my boss will ever do that. One of the things I tell the employees is don't try to oversell it. If you can just get us in the door and get a meeting with us and your executive team, and we can present a little bit about how the numbers work out, people have a paradigm in their head about what culture is, and they think it's the ping pong tables and the softness, and people look at it and say, well, I have to do this because those darn millennials are making us do it, and that's not the reality. If we can present it, and then we can connect people with real clients like yourself, and you can show, like, this is the results that happen in our company, it's a pretty easy case to make. So that's what we recommend, is don't try to push it too hard. Yeah.
Hi, Bernie Dana from Evangel University. 2 things. One, how do you measure the outcomes of what you do? Is there some specific ways that you look at doing that? And then kind of a follow-up on that. There's some classic cases of going in because change needs to be made, and you do a lot of the empowerment, people-centric kind of things. When you walk away and still your senior management does things that just stifle that later, and they sound on board, but then they're not. So how do you kind of prevent that from happening? How do you assess when you go in whether or not this is truly going to be embraced?
So my mind's on the second question, then I'll go back to the first one, and you might have to remind me exactly what it was.
It's the measure one.
The measurements, okay, thank you. So in terms of tracking what the results that are going on, there's a couple ways that we do it. One is we ask the client up front what their KPIs are. What are they looking at in terms of their business? Because we should impact that. If I'm going to claim that this is a hard change for the company, it should change the hard numbers too. So we watch that and make sure we're having a positive impact and watch that with the client. And it normally does. We also can measure some softer things like employee engagement. The other nice thing is that we can look at, when we think about it in terms of systems, we can ask the employees how they feel, which is a little bit soft and nebulous, or we can go in saying, we know these are best practices that drive profitability, are you doing them? So those are more hard measurements to look at. And that's a lot of times when we go and assess, we can look at each of those systems and see how much of it do you have in place now. And it pretty accurately predicts how built up your culture you've had. The second part to that is we are very careful in our opening process to make sure that the management team is truly bought in. I tell clients that we stack the deck when we go to work with a new client. We turn down clients if we go in and management comes in. We had a management client came in and said, we need to cut 30 employees and we just need to teach them that they're doing everything wrong because they're all a bunch of idiots. And I talked to them and they wanted to pay us a lot of money to come in and tell their employees that they were idiots. We won't do that. That's not going to be a successful engagement. We're not going to turn away. That's not going to be a client that's going to respond business to us. So we've got a vetting process for the management team too to make sure the managers are all in. That's kind of a hard thing for Gary's company because I've had some employees come and say, our manager will just never do this. And I'll talk to them and they're right. And the answer to that is kind of a hard answer to say, well, then how do you get in there? And I say, well, we're not going to, but it's not our fault. Yes.
So just to follow up on this gentleman's question, and not to be a devil's advocate, but I will be a little bit.
Bring it.
Because, you know, people get very frustrated with consulting in general, I think, partly because of the implementation gap, which I think you have addressed.
Yeah.
However, notwithstanding sort of your claim that, you know, sort of this is a new approach, certainly I think professional services firms have been doing exactly what you've just talked about for a long time, and I can't, that's the only background that I can speak to. But I think even if, for example, the example that you just gave, management's giving this pitch that that's completely not in line with the value that people-centric consulting purports. Well, a lot of times management will very much say, yes, this is exactly what we want. However, and you can have, and I'm talking also from your sweet spot of 50 to 200 people, what do you do when management has purported to buy into your process and yet, you know, they're not I guess the will or the endurance to actually implement some of the strategies that you purport don't exist eventually. Maybe they exist for 6 months' time. In my experience, that's what I've seen, and then everything sort of falls apart. The fact is it takes sometimes years to show a trend in KPIs, and you're not going to be around for years most likely. So how do you sort of address the general, I guess, you know, sort of cynicism or that kind of outlook?
Sure. I mean, the one thing I would say is that, yes, we've done a lot of industry studies, and people are frustrated with consultants. But we've also done a lot of studies, and our clients are not frustrated with us. So we highlight that gap and highlight our clients and say, go talk to them, go find out what they've done. Second thing is that approach, that blue-collar approach of us being in the middle of the engagement. We are in the middle. We are often the first ones to see when management's not really bought in and aligned with what we do. And that happens, you know, that happens frequently to some level, right? And then we go and we have a closed-door meeting with the management team and say, hey, you're not engaged in this process. You're holding this back. Here's what we need from you. And it's just a frank partnership, and it's open. If the owner is not open to that and pushes back too hard on it, and we just don't feel like they're a good partner, and we've missed that in the early phases, we'll fire the client. And we've done that before. Doesn't happen very often. Our vetting system's gotten pretty good.
Good morning. I'm Chris with Bancorp South Insurance. It sounds like you guys have got a lot of really great systems in place, and congratulations on the success you guys are having. One question that I did have is maybe you could give us an example of a time where you went in to work with a new client and they kind of fit in your wheelhouse as far as accepting the ideas that you guys have and coming into their business and helping them with their business culture. Do you have an example of where maybe you've done everything as far as the background is concerned and going into a business, but actually not succeeded in helping that business grow or in solving the problems that maybe they wanted to solve, even though the management team or the owner of the business was on board with what you guys were doing?
guys may not believe me on this, but I'm trying to think of an example where we thought, because the criteria you laid out is we thought we were really aligned, we looked at it, we vetted it, we said, yes, I think we can really help you. You know, if your business model is completely broken and your business is going like this into the ground, you know, you can't necessarily pull that up just with culture. You know, there's other parts to make a business successful. We try to vet that out ahead of time, and I'm trying to think of an example where we've really engaged in a client. We've gotten to with some clients that were on a trajectory to do this, but I can't think of a time where we haven't really been successful helping them pull up. I can't think of an example of that. I can think of examples of companies who approached us and we said, what you're doing is bad and you should stop.
Well, and I'll piggyback off a couple of the questions we've already had as far as creating a long-term impact. When you go in and you can impact the culture and you can make those types of changes, do you have any systems in place where you do create a long-term partnership so you aren't creating this change and then leaving them hanging?
Yeah, and that's I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to mention that. And there was several questions back to yours. You said you can't be there for years. We are often there for years, and not against the client's will, but as a partner with the client to say, hey, let's help you as you're growing. If you're growing your business and we're successful in what you're doing, you're adding systems, we need to continuously be working with clients to upgrade those systems. So yes, we have companies that have worked with us for multiple years on a regular basis where we're just a partner, where we serve as a member of their executive team as a regular advisor, bringing our outside insight into their business. That's a great place for us to be. That's an important thing for businesses to have if you're growing. Now, we've got clients that they get to a point, they're really happy, and they want to stay there, and that's great, and we've helped them put stuff in, and then we leave them and say, okay, call us if you need us. But if you're growing and you're on a trajectory towards growth, there's always challenges that come up, and we can always help with those. So yeah, that's the way we prefer it. We consider that we call it a partnership. We call that a partnership, and that partnership mindset helps us to address those other issues that you brought up of, if it's not working, we have to say it. It has to be an open and frank partnership. It's not a, yes, we'll come in and do whatever you want us to do. It's us being a partner with you, to be an equal with you, to say, hey, let's give it, you got insight into how your business is run on a day-to-day business. We have to give you insight in terms of what we see as well. We have to be a frank, open partner, which means having difficult discussions sometimes.
I'm sure a lot of times you get the phone call whenever it's a rescue or there's a decline that you, as you said, they want to pull up. And so have you had success or found that companies have reached out to you in a preventative way or just for growth or in more of a positive environment than a rescue situation?
Most of our clients are in the second. Most of our clients are very successful at what they do and call us to be more successful. I attribute that to, I think, successful people think differently than non-successful people. Non-successful people say, I'm going to do it all on my own, and I'm not going to bring in any expertise because I know everything that I'm doing. Really successful people say, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm constantly challenging myself, constantly challenging my company, and looking for something that will bring value to me. So most of the companies that we work with are already very successful, and we help to accelerate them. It's a lot harder doing it the other way.
Hey, good morning. I'm going to do a little bit of a change up on you because I'm actually really fascinated by your company. Like, what kind of background does your consulting team come from? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that you train your people to train people, but at the same time, what are you looking for in the people that you want to work with within your company to send your message out to other companies?
Right. So that was a problem that we had in the business early on. There's no college program on people-centricness. Right? There's no one program that we go to and say, wow, that's who we need to hire. Our staff, they're very educated. The profile that we found is they're educated, so they've gone through some kind of a college program, probably beyond that. I'm one of the founders of the company, and my degree is in chemical engineering, which makes me very qualified as a business consultant. Makes me think about, I think about systems and things and experience with businesses and teams and culture. But we've got a doctorate in communication on our team. We have a recovering CPA on our team. We have a couple of MBAs. I'm the least educated person on our staff right now, and I'm pretty excited about that. The profile that we look with is somebody that's been successful in their career, but is looking for something different. So they've already done something that's made them very successful, but they see something with people that they're just excited about it. They have to be really passionate about helping people. They also have to have the capability, and this is a difficult one, of being able to jump in a lot of different industries and immediately be able to speak the language and look past the acronyms that exist in healthcare, for example, or learning how publishing works, or the different types of clients we work, and be able to see the people system sides and be able to still have an intelligent conversation, to be able to facilitate and carry conversations. It's very much a coaching personality that we look for, somebody that can facilitate and lead rather than tell. But there's other personality traits, but that's what we're looking for. It took us a while to figure out what that profile is, but I think we've got it down.
Don, this is not a facetious question, okay?
Okay.
But how is the people-centric culture doing?
How's our culture doing? Oh, it's terrible. We're looking for a consultant right now, actually, if anybody could. No, we work very hard on our culture. We talk about our values on a regular basis. You know, we talk about sometimes the mechanics, the last person to work on their own car. We challenge ourselves on that. I've got a great team. Diana kind of owns that for us and really asks questions a lot in terms of what we see in terms of our own people and the moves that we make and how we support our own culture. I think we have an amazing culture. You know, I think that I love the way that we're seeing dozens of clients right now. We're holding our management series right now. It's live right now in another location. I'm not there, our CEO's not there, Diana's not there. Our team is running with that and they're doing a great job with it. It's exciting. I drive to work excited because I'm excited about bringing problems to my team. So I feel great about our culture, but we are constantly thinking about it just like others. I wish we existed on the outside because we would definitely hire us to help us to grow.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm Jessie Stone. I think I'm your last question, so you can relax after this.
Make it good.
Okay, I hope it's good. I'll try to articulate it well. Okay, so I see that you are people-centric, but I'm kind of wondering in your management, when you're working with a company, if you happen to be more management-centric or employee-centric, like ultimately, and maybe you'll say you're really 50-50, but I'm wondering if you lean in any direction. Like if the employees are all making minimum wage, I don't know that I'd really be super into that team unless we were all like breastfeeding baby dolphins or something just really magical. Yeah. Maybe I overstated that, sorry. But I'm just, sorry. This is a terrible question. No, but, so my point is like, is your thrust, does it lean more toward like, let's make this really awesome for the employees so that they are really on the team for years to come? Or is it more, let's really talk to the management about how they deal with their employees so that they manage people well for you? I'm just wondering which way you lean, because I managed people for years, but I did it on an egalitarian commune, so it's really, I'm interested in this structural thing that's different than what I understand.
That's a great question. In a healthy culture, there's no real distinction between those competing interests. So if I'm managing you and you're an employee, and it's a healthy culture and it's a healthy relationship, if I'm managing you well and you're performing well, those two interests are totally aligned. If I'm not managing you well and I need to be taken care of and I'm taking a management-centric performance for you, I need to fix me to be able to help you. But if you're not performing well and I've got to fix you, that's different. So we talk about, people come to us and say, how do you advocate firing people, being called people-centric consulting group? The people that get fired from organizations that we work with, they are happier. If you're working in a job and you hate the company and you don't like what you're doing, you're not very good at it anyway, that's a terrible place for us to be. Worldwide employee engagement's at 32% right now, which means 68% of employees are either disengaged or toxic at work. That's pathetic. That's sad. And that's the perspective that says that a job environment is either the employees win or managers win. And that's the culture that dominates there. In that 32% culture, though, where everyone's engaged and everyone's really bought in, they will give up a lot. I've seen minimum wage employees come up and offer to give up pay to do something better for the company. We work with restaurants where we had high school kids who were there for gas money, work on the weekends doing extra work to help to improve processes inside of a company. We're hired as human beings to act like that, just like the presentation you saw before. He's hardwired to do that. Whether he's successful in this venture or the next one or the next one or the next one that he does, he's going to be happy and fulfilled because he's pursuing his passions. We're hardwired to do that as people, and organizations are hardwired to be more successful when their people are allowed to do that. So we don't see those as competing interests.
Thanks, Don. Of course, this is a refill, and we hope that you have benefited from the 1 Million Cups community as much as we've benefited from you. So
I'm going to add the dolphin breastfeeding thing.
I was going to say that. I'm glad you beat me to it, but
we'll talk about it.
Other than supplying some amazing...
Diana's giving me a no right now, so sorry, that's already been vetted. We are not doing dolphin breastfeeding.
We always want to end with a question, what can we as a community do to help you?
They have teeth, don't they? Anyway.
I think they do. I think they'll be very dangerous.
How can we help you, Don, as a community?
What's that?
What can we as a community do to help you?
I think the biggest thing is stop tolerating bad management. Don't tolerate it in your companies. Don't tolerate it with the companies you work for. Don't tolerate it in the companies that you run. Learn something different. Come join us at a mastermind. We've brought some invitations out if you want to grab them. Randy's got them back here. Diana's got them up here. Grab an invitation. Come as my guest to our next mastermind. Come learn a little bit. Network with some leaders. If you own a company and you've got managers, train them on how to lead and motivate people. Get started that way. We're doing our next series on September 30th. It's a full-day management training series of just the basics on how to manage. You can go to our website and you can check all that out. So the best way that you can help is just to be more people-centric, run better businesses. It's better for everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, shout out to Dawn with People Centric. Also, shout out to Austin with Pocket Secretary. Also, a special thank you to Scott Bratcher with Marlin and Colin McAllister with McAllister Coaching for being our professional panel here today. We had probably twice as many people as we expected here today due to the rain and the timing. The summer time's wrapping up, school's getting ready to start. So thank you guys as a community for coming out, supporting these entrepreneurs in 1 Million Cups. So see you next week. Go enjoy some coffee, listen to some music, ask any follow-up questions you have. Thanks.
I'm here with Austin Butcher with Pocket Secretary. Yes, Pocket Secretary. And it's a concept that you've developed over the years of working in the lawn care and maintenance industry, which is pretty remarkable. And I don't think everyone's commented about your age and saying, well, he's only 18, he just graduated from high school. Talk a little bit about what inspired you as far as your entrepreneurial spirit. Like, how does somebody who's 18 get a fire in their belly to go out and start not one, but now 2 companies?
Okay. Well, I realized at a young age that I don't want to work for somebody else. I want to work for myself and make the highest profit I can. And I think it was a conversation with me and my neighbor that actually sparked the idea of having a mowing company. And he didn't actually do it. I was the one that went out and started getting yards. And we realized that after a little bit of talking, that $30 a yard or $25 a yard, we can start making a profit very fast and start building a company off of that. And that's how it all started.
That's cool. It's always great to hear that story behind the company. We asked you in there earlier, but if there's anything else that you would like to share with us about how the 1 Million Cups community can be working to help you, let us know.
Spreading the word. If there's anybody that's interested in testing out the app or helping develop it, let me know. And if you have any questions about any of it, just let me know. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Austin. All right, I'm here with Don Harkey with People Centric Consulting Group. And your business is about 4 years old now?
Yep.
So
started in 2012. That's right.
Okay, 2012, and it's grown hugely. And I wish you would talk about why you chose to do such a high-powered consulting company in Springfield. In fact, you're located downtown, beautiful brick building, whole deal. How's that played into your success?
Yeah, well, we love Springfield. I mean, Springfield is a greatly entrepreneurial town. It's an easy place to have to get resources. People are open about talking about their businesses. There's resources in terms of collaboration with other businesses. It's just a great community to start things at.
Thank you. I agree. So I would choose Springfield over any other town, and I did.
Yeah.
So, of course, we always want to ask you the question, what can we as a community do to help you? How can we be more involved in People-Centric Consulting Group?
Well, as I told the group today, I think that the key is just not to tolerate bad management. If you're an employee and you're working inside of a company, challenge the people that you work for to engage you more, to engage your strengths, to get more involved. And if you own a company or if you are a manager, develop your skills, develop your strengths on how to lead and motivate people. The truth is, in the United States right now, about 32% of employees are engaged, which leaves 68% are not. That's really disappointing. But there's also a huge opportunity for companies to engage the talent of the people you already have. So we just encourage people in Springfield to get together and challenge each other to be better managers. You can do that through our mastermind group, which meets on the third Friday, so you can come to our website and check that out. Also through our management series that we've started, where you can train your managers on how to be better managers, how to lead and motivate people. Just putting that challenge out. And the best thing is there's a return on that, is that people will be happier in their jobs, they'll be more productive, and companies will make more money.
Great. Thanks, Don.